Never forgive these 7 betrayals. In relationships. Stoic philosophy. Stoicism. In relationships, betrayal can hit us harder than any other form of pain. While forgiveness is often praised as the key to healing, there are times when forgiving certain betrayals isn't a path to peace but to self-destruction. Modern Stoicism teaches us that some wounds run so deep that forgiving them would mean betraying our own worth. We live in a world that constantly encourages forgiveness, but what if some actions are too harmful to be excused? Stoic secrets remind us that our emotional well-being is our responsibility, and that some betrayals are so damaging they require us to walk away, not from bitterness, but from self-respect. Today, we're diving into 7 types of betrayals in relationships that should never be forgiven, with insights from Stoic philosophy to help you make the tough choices that protect your peace in today's modern world. At Stoic in Your Life, we'll explore how Stoicism empowers us to let go of toxic ties and choose a path of emotional freedom. Never forgive these 7 betrayals. Number 1. Repeated lying. In relationships, trust is the foundation of everything. Without it, nothing is solid. But when trust is betrayed, especially through repeated lying, the foundation begins to crack. One lie can be forgiven, but when lying becomes a habit, it's no longer a mistake. It's a pattern that reflects a deeper flaw in character. This creates cracks in trust, making it harder to discern what's true. With each lie, no matter how small, respect is also chipped away, as the person lying shows they don't value the truth or your feelings. This isn't just a mistake, it's betrayal. Can you truly build a future with someone who shows such disregard for honesty? As Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When trust is broken, continuing to accept lies only stains your own sense of self. Shouldn't we protect our dignity by refusing to tolerate dishonesty? No matter how much we want to believe in the person? Consider Daniel's story. His partner Sarah lied about simple things, like where she was. At first, he overlooked it, thinking it wasn't a big deal. But the lies piled up, and he realized their relationship was based on deceit, not truth. Eventually, Daniel walked away. Not because he didn't care, but because he valued his peace and self-respect more than staying in an unstable relationship. This wasn't easy, but sometimes the best choice is to leave what harms us, as modern Stoicism teaches us. Now think about this. How often do we let small lies slide, telling ourselves they're temporary issues? We often do this because we want to believe the best in others. But does tolerating dishonesty protect us? Or does it erode our self-worth? When someone repeatedly shows their true colors through actions, can you overlook that? The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, remind us that we control our responses. If we stay in relationships that harm us, we're allowing those relationships to control us. Do you deserve to be lied to and disrespected? Stoicism isn't about blaming others. It's about recognizing your role in allowing these behaviors. Sometimes the wisest choice is to walk away, protect your peace, and seek relationships grounded in respect and truth. In modern Stoicism, setting healthy boundaries, even if it means leaving something important, is a form of self-care. So ask yourself, what makes a relationship worth keeping? If trust and honesty are missing, what do you really have? Every lie erodes your inner peace, and Stoicism teaches us to protect that peace at all costs. By choosing to walk away from dishonesty, you reclaim your dignity. It might hurt, but remember that you are responsible for your own happiness. Does someone who lies deserve a place in your life? You have the power to choose, and your inner peace is the prize. Are you ready to let go of the lies no matter how hard it may be? Number 2, physical or emotional abuse. In any relationship, love should be the one place where you find safety, trust, and mutual respect. It should be a sanctuary, your safe haven, where both individuals feel comfortable enough to be vulnerable, supported, and valued. Love is supposed to empower both partners, creating a space for growth and personal development. But when abuse, in any form, creeps into that relationship, that sanctuary is shattered. The invisible walls that once held you safe begin to collapse, and what you are left with are deep emotional and physical scars that linger long after the incident. Whether it's a slap, a cruel word, or controlling behavior, abuse is never a rough patch or something that can be worked through with time. It is a profound violation of your human dignity, something that should never be accepted or ignored. Physical abuse is the more obvious form. It leaves bruises, cuts, and broken bones, signs that can't be hidden from the world. But emotional abuse, which can often be more difficult to identify, is equally as destructive, if not more so. Emotional abuse is the slow erosion of your spirit. It chips away at your self-worth, distorts your sense of reality, and diminishes your confidence. Over time, you may start questioning your value as a person, wondering if you're the problem. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, remind us that no one has the right to strip us of our dignity unless we allow it. When someone abuses us, they are not just violating our bodies or our emotions, they are attempting to violate our peace. And while it might feel like we owe the person who abused us a chance for forgiveness, the truth is, forgiving abuse does not heal the wound. It only prolongs the harm. Walking away from an abusive relationship is not an act of weakness. It is a brave choice to preserve your dignity and self-respect. It takes strength to leave, to reclaim the parts of yourself that were taken away, and to walk away from something that is so clearly harmful. Sometimes, we stay in abusive relationships because we believe love means sacrificing ourselves for the sake of someone else. But true love should not cost you your peace or your humanity. True love should be a force that enhances who you are, not one that diminishes you. The example of Emma is powerful here. She had spent years rationalizing her partner's behavior, excusing his angry outbursts as just frustration or a bad day. But when he grabbed her arm in a fit of rage, leaving bruises on her skin, Emma finally saw the truth. That was not love. It was control. It was manipulation. It was the complete opposite of the nurturing and safe environment she deserved. The scars she bore were not just physical but deeply emotional. Over time, Emma summoned the courage to leave, to walk away, and to reclaim her self-worth and dignity. She embraced the Stoic secret. We are the gatekeepers of how others treat us. We allow people into our lives, but we have the power to remove them when they harm us. In the world we live in today, it can be easy to fall into the trap of thinking we need to endure abuse in the name of love or attachment. We may convince ourselves that this behavior is a one-time occurrence or that things will get better. But love should never cost you your peace. It should never make you feel less than you are. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely said, "True, love is the love that makes you better, not the one that keeps you small." Abuse, whether physical or emotional, has no place in a healthy relationship. The act of leaving an abusive relationship is not just about escaping. It is about regaining control over your life and your happiness. You deserve love that lifts you up, not one that breaks you down. Choose to preserve your dignity. Choose to live a life of peace. To engage with our community and support one another. We want to hear from you. Comment "I choose dignity" below if you believe in the power of walking away from toxic relationships and protecting your self-respect. Your voice matters, and your participation helps us foster a community built on strength, resilience, and support. Let's stand together in the pursuit of love that uplifts rather than destroys. Number 3. Public humiliation. In the dance of relationships, love and respect should act as the guiding stars, uplifting both individuals in their journey together. But when public humiliation enters the picture, that delicate balance is shattered, replaced by a form of emotional cruelty that cuts deep. A partner who humiliates you in front of others is not merely making a mistake. They are choosing, consciously or unconsciously, to degrade your dignity. Such acts are not accidental. They are deliberate, designed to lower your value in the eyes of others and undermine your self-esteem. This kind of betrayal doesn't just sting in the moment. It plants seeds of doubt in your mind, questioning your worth and your deservingness of respect. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This teaching invites us to shift our perspective on the matter. Our dignity should never be defined by the actions or opinions of others, but by how we choose to respond to their behavior. When faced with public humiliation, remember this is not a reflection of your value. It is a manifestation of the other person's insecurity, their emotional immaturity, and their need to control. In modern Stoicism, we are encouraged to focus on what is within our control and reject the actions that threaten our peace. True love, as the Stoics would remind us, is not about diminishing each other but about lifting each other higher. If you find yourself constantly belittled or humiliated, it's important to recognize that this is not love. It's manipulation. Love elevates, it doesn't pull you down for amusement or power. It's essential to understand that such behavior doesn't stem from affection, but from a desire to assert control, often at the expense of your self-worth. I want to share with you the story of John, a man who faced a painful betrayal in a public setting. At a social gathering, his partner made a cutting joke about his appearance in front of friends, instantly silencing the room. In that moment, John felt small, powerless, and exposed, as if his entire sense of self had been stripped away. But then, something shifted within him. Instead of internalizing the humiliation and letting it define him, John recognized that this act was not about him. It was a form of control, a manipulation designed to undermine him. With this newfound awareness, John made the difficult but necessary decision to walk away from the relationship. He understood that by staying, he would only be accepting the continued erosion of his dignity. This story highlights the Stoic principle of taking control over how we react to external events. John chose to protect his dignity, to preserve his peace, and in doing so, he demonstrated the strength that modern Stoicism teaches us. In your own life, if you ever face this kind of betrayal, remember, it is not a reflection of your worth but of the insecurity of the person attempting to diminish you. Choose to preserve your self-respect and walk away from relationships that rob you of your peace. The Stoics remind us that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can always control how we respond. In doing so, we ensure that we live in alignment with our values, safeguarding both our inner peace and our dignity. Number 4. Repeated infidelity. In relationships, trust is the foundation upon which everything is built. It's that invisible thread that ties two people together, allowing them to weather life's storms. But when that thread is cut, especially by repeated acts of betrayal like infidelity, the damage is deep and difficult to repair. The first time someone betrays you, it may feel like a huge blow, one that shakes you to your core. But sometimes, it can be forgiven, depending on the circumstances. However, when infidelity becomes a repeated pattern, it's no longer a mistake. It turns into a deliberate choice, a reflection of the other person's disregard for the relationship and the trust you have so carefully built. Each act of infidelity erodes the bond further, leaving scars that become harder to heal over time. Think about it. When the one person you thought you could rely on for loyalty and commitment continuously undermines that trust, it chips away at the very foundation of your love. Stoic philosophy teaches us something essential here. While we cannot control the actions of others, we absolutely have control over our responses. Repeated betrayal is not something we need to tolerate. Walking away from someone who repeatedly betrays you is not a failure, it's an act of self-respect, a recognition that you deserve loyalty, honesty, and love in return for the commitment you give. Let me share a story with you. David once found out that his partner had cheated on him. He felt betrayed, but after some deep reflection, he believed it was a mistake, perhaps a moment of weakness or a lapse in judgment. So he forgave them and chose to move forward. But when he discovered the affair happened again, something shifted in him. He realized that this wasn't a mistake. It was a pattern, a clear sign of disrespect for the relationship. David chose to walk away, understanding that no amount of forgiveness could mend what had been repeatedly broken. His decision to end the relationship wasn't a failure. It was an act of strength and self-respect. So I ask you, have you ever been in a relationship where someone repeatedly betrayed your trust? What would it take for you to finally walk away? In this lesson, we see a fundamental Stoic truth. You cannot control others, but you control how you respond to them. The Stoic secrets of resilience and self-discipline show that walking away from betrayal is not a weakness. It's a form of self-preservation. When someone repeatedly violates the trust you've placed in them, it's a clear signal to honor yourself and move on. Recognizing your worth and knowing when to let go is one of the most powerful acts of self-love and emotional strength you can practice. This is not about holding grudges or seeking revenge, but about understanding that you are worthy of a relationship built on honesty, respect, and mutual loyalty. Repeated betrayal doesn't just hurt. It teaches us where to draw the line, and sometimes walking away is the most empowering decision we can make. The Stoics teach us to accept life's challenges with equanimity, but they also empower us to take action when necessary. In relationships, that action may be as simple as knowing when enough is enough. Do you think you could have the courage to walk away if someone you loved repeatedly betrayed your trust? What would you need to remind yourself of in that moment? To honor your own well-being over the fear of loneliness or discomfort? The Stoic secrets remind us that we are in control of our own actions and responses, and that in itself is a powerful tool for navigating life's most painful moments. Number 5. Gaslighting. In relationships, one of the most destructive forms of betrayal is gaslighting. This is a manipulation tactic where someone deliberately tries to make you question your own reality, your memories, perceptions, or even your feelings. It's a slow and insidious process that wears down your confidence and self-belief. You begin doubting yourself, wondering if what you remember or feel is even true. Have you ever had a moment when you felt sure about something, only for someone to make you feel like you were losing your mind? That's the essence of gaslighting. It's not just about disagreement or misunderstandings. It's about a systematic attempt to destabilize your understanding of yourself and the world around you. In modern Stoicism, we are encouraged to pursue clarity and truth in all things. The Stoics understood that our perceptions are our reality, and when those are manipulated, it's a betrayal of the highest order. Imagine living in a relationship where your thoughts, feelings, and experiences are constantly invalidated. Your partner might tell you that you're being overly sensitive or accuse you of overreacting when you bring up valid concerns. They might twist situations, leaving you feeling confused and disoriented as though you can't trust your own mind. This is exactly what gaslighting does. It makes you doubt the very core of who you are. I want you to think for a moment. How would you feel if everything you said or felt was dismissed or twisted? It's exhausting, isn't it? That's why, according to Stoic philosophy, walking away from a gaslighting partner is not just a decision. It's an act of reclaiming your peace and your truth. It's about having the courage to trust your own judgment again, even when someone else tries to tear it down. I want to share with you a story about Rachel, a woman who faced this betrayal. Her partner would constantly tell her that she was imagining things, making her question everything, from her emotions to her memories. At first it was subtle, a passing comment here and there, but over time it wore her down. She began to feel like she was losing herself. But then one day Rachel made a decision. She chose to trust herself. She walked away from that toxic relationship, reclaiming her sense of self. It was not easy. but it was a powerful step towards her own freedom. Gaslighting isn't just a betrayal of trust, it's a betrayal of your very sense of reality. The Stoics teach us to live in accordance with nature and to focus on what we can control: our thoughts, actions, and beliefs. When someone gaslights you, they are trying to control your perception of reality, and that's something you must never allow. "He who is brave is free," said Seneca. Walking away from someone who manipulates your mind is one of the bravest things you can do. It's about protecting your peace and not allowing anyone to take away your mental clarity. In modern Stoicism, we learn that clarity of thought is one of the greatest assets we can possess, and when we lose that, we lose a part of ourselves. Have you ever had a moment where you felt someone was manipulating your reality? How did you handle it? Could you walk away even if it felt hard? The Stoics would encourage you to trust yourself, your perception, your reality, and your truth. Never allow anyone to take that from you. If you're still here, it's clear you value the strength to protect your truth and clarity. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced gaslighting in a relationship? How did you manage to reclaim your peace? Drop a comment below with "I trust my reality," and let's continue learning from each other. More enlightening insights from modern Stoicism are coming your way soon. Number 6. Controlling behavior. In the complex landscape of relationships, freedom stands as a fundamental pillar of mutual respect and trust. It is critical that you, as an individual, are able to maintain your autonomy, ensuring that your relationship nurtures both your personal growth and your well-being. Love at its core should empower you to become the best version of yourself and not make you feel as though you are walking in someone else's shadow. However, when a relationship starts to feel more like a prison than a partnership, when your partner begins to dictate your every action, thought, and choice, you are no longer in a balanced relationship. Instead, you have entered a dynamic where insecurity and possessiveness reign. A controlling partner will often attempt to dominate every aspect of your life, from who you associate with, to what you wear, and even how you should think. This type of behavior gradually chips away at your sense of self, restricting your freedom and undermining your individuality. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once wisely said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." This powerful statement highlights the Stoic belief that true freedom comes when you detach from forces and influences outside your control, especially when they attempt to manipulate or restrict your life. Controlling behavior strips you of this freedom and forces you to live according to someone else's narrow vision of what your life should look like. This is not love. In fact, love is the opposite of control. It is the empowerment of each other, the encouragement to grow individually and together. A loving relationship thrives on mutual respect, where both partners are free to express themselves and pursue their own passions, knowing that they have each other's full support. If you find that your every action is monitored, if your choices are constantly questioned, and if your partner imposes their will on you in ways that diminish your own, it's time to take a step back. Walking away from such a controlling relationship is not a failure. Rather, it is a victory in reclaiming your personal sovereignty. It is an act of self-respect, a step toward finding the freedom you need to thrive and flourish. Let's consider the example of Sarah, who found herself entangled in a relationship where her partner continuously questioned her friendships, dictated her clothing, and isolated her from her social circle. Slowly, Sarah began to feel stifled, trapped, and increasingly disconnected from her true self. This oppressive atmosphere drained her of her joy and creativity, leaving her unable to express herself freely. It wasn't until Sarah recognized how much this controlling relationship was undermining her sense of identity that she found the strength to make the painful decision to walk away. While difficult, this choice was rooted in a deep understanding of her own value and a commitment to reclaiming the life that was rightfully hers. In the world we live in today, it's easy to get caught up in the allure of a relationship that appears fulfilling at the start. But over time, if we aren't careful, we may find ourselves losing sight of our own personal growth and freedom. The pressure to fit into someone else's vision can lead to a gradual erosion of our independence. But the Stoic secrets remind us that your sovereignty, your ability to live freely and authentically, is priceless. The Stoics teach us that we must have the courage to walk away from situations and people that seek to diminish our autonomy. True love, real connection, and meaningful partnerships are built on mutual respect, not control or subjugation. In every relationship, you must protect your freedom above all else, because when you lose it, you lose the very essence of who you are. Your individuality and sense of self are the foundation of everything you are and will ever become. Never let anyone, no matter how much you care for them, take that from you. The Stoics would remind you to always reclaim your independence, because, without it, nothing else will have the meaning or fulfillment you seek. Number 7. Lack of accountability. In any meaningful relationship, mutual respect, trust, and the willingness to admit mistakes are essential for growth and harmony. However, when one partner repeatedly refuses to take responsibility for their real actions, it signals stagnation and toxicity. This lack of accountability leads to unresolved issues, eroded trust, and stunted personal growth. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." A partner who avoids owning their faults stifles both personal growth and the relationship's foundation. Instead of confronting their shortcomings, they deflect blame, which only fuels defensiveness and deepens dysfunction. In Stoic terms, this is arrogance, failing to practice humility and self-awareness, which are key principles of modern Stoicism. Without accountability, a relationship turns into a battleground of blame, leaving no room for resolution or compassion. Forgiving. A partner who won't accept responsibility enables their refusal to grow. It silently accepts the stagnation and unhealthy dynamics that erode the connection. Stoicism teaches that growth is not a luxury, but a necessity. When a partner isn't committed to their own growth, they harm both themselves and the relationship. Walking away from someone who refuses to take responsibility is not weakness. It is an act of self-respect and a clear declaration that you deserve better than a relationship stuck in blame and inaction. It's a choice to invest in relationships that nurture mutual accountability, trust, and respect. Take Mark's story. For example, his partner repeatedly deflected blame during arguments, never acknowledging her role. This left Mark feeling invalidated, as no resolution or growth was ever achieved. He realized that without both partners embracing accountability, the relationship couldn't move forward. Ultimately, Mark chose to end the relationship, understanding that he needed a healthier dynamic for both his growth and the future of the partnership. His decision was rooted in Stoic wisdom, prioritizing inner peace over external validation. He knew his well-being depended on cultivating relationships that supported personal growth. This principle is particularly relevant today, where the pressures of daily life often cloud our ability to reflect on our actions. Social media and digital communication have made it easier for people to avoid accountability, shift blame, and distort narratives. Yet in quieter moments, we must ask ourselves, are we enabling behaviors that hinder growth and respect in our relationships? Are we forgiving those who avoid facing their own flaws, or are we choosing relationships that support mutual accountability? Modern Stoicism teaches that while we cannot control others, we can control our own responses. As Epictetus would advise, we must recognize the limits of our influence and focus on our own thoughts, actions, and boundaries. In relationships, this means holding ourselves and others accountable for the behaviors we tolerate. Refusing to forgive betrayals of accountability is not about holding grudges. It's about preserving our inner peace and ensuring we invest in relationships that help us grow. Setting boundaries is not rejecting the person, but rejecting the behaviors that undermine trust and respect. It's about honoring our own integrity and creating space for relationships that nurture growth, responsibility, and mutual respect. By embracing modern stoicism, we can navigate the complexities of relationships, cultivating connections that elevate us rather than diminish us. These 7 betrayals cut deep and are not easily forgotten. While forgiveness is a core value in many philosophies, there are certain actions that, once crossed, can irreparably damage trust and self-respect. A relationship built on these betrayals is one that may never be healed. Recognizing when to let go is essential to preserving your peace and sense of dignity. Key Stoic principles related to forgiveness and self-respect. While betrayal can be painful, understanding how to navigate it with wisdom is just as important. The Stoic approach provides powerful tools for dealing with these situations in a way that preserves your emotional strength and self-respect. Let's now dive into key Stoic principles that help you maintain emotional independence, set healthy boundaries, and rise above the hurt so you can reclaim your power and move forward with resilience. Number 1. Emotional independence. In relationships, betrayal is something we all fear, but Stoicism offers a powerful way to navigate its pain. Rather than avoiding hurt, Stoic philosophy empowers us to face it with wisdom. Betrayal is often seen as an external event, but Stoicism teaches us that the true source of suffering lies in how we respond to it. Here are 7 betrayals that, according to Stoic philosophy, we should never forgive, as they damage our emotional well-being. The first betrayal is emotional dependence. We often seek validation from others, but Stoicism teaches us to rely on ourselves for self-worth. True strength comes from within, and emotional independence allows us to remain grounded, even when others let us down. Take Alice, for example. After her partner's betrayal, she spent months working on herself, rediscovering her passions and rebuilding her self-esteem. By the end, Alice no longer needed others' approval to feel whole. Have you ever felt your peace dependent on someone else's approval? Imagine the freedom of finding validation within yourself. Next is attachment to outcomes. We often want things to turn out a specific way in relationships, but Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our actions and reactions, rather than the outcome. Marcus, for instance, worked hard to build a business with his partner, only to see it fall apart. Instead of letting it define his happiness, he focused on learning and rebuilding. It's not the outcome, but how we respond that shapes our peace. The third betrayal is disrespect for boundaries. Boundaries are essential for healthy relationships. If someone disrespects your boundaries, it's a betrayal of your self-respect. Sarah, a close friend, had to set clear boundaries with a partner who repeatedly canceled plans. Once she stood firm, the relationship improved, and her self-respect was restored. When was the last time you asserted your boundaries in a relationship? The fourth betrayal is manipulation. Manipulation can be subtle but damaging, often using guilt or control to influence your actions. Stoicism teaches us to recognize manipulation and refuse to tolerate it. We must make decisions based on our values, not others' attempts to control us. Unfulfilled promises are another betrayal. When promises are broken repeatedly, trust is eroded. Stoicism encourages us to acknowledge the pain of broken promises without allowing it to define us. We can control how we respond to others' actions. The sixth betrayal is jealousy. Jealousy arises from comparing ourselves to others, and Stoicism teaches us to focus on our own growth. By doing so, we free ourselves from jealousy and foster more genuine connections. Finally, lack of accountability is a betrayal. Both parties in a relationship must take responsibility for their actions. When someone refuses to acknowledge their mistakes, it erodes the relationship. Accountability is key to trust and growth. As you reflect on these betrayals, ask yourself, Are you allowing any of these in your life? Are you practicing emotional independence, setting boundaries, and holding others accountable? The Stoic secrets to resilience teach us that while we can't control others, we can control our reactions. By living in line with these principles, you'll find the strength to face challenges with grace and wisdom. Number 2. The role of self-respect. Self-respect is the cornerstone of a life that embodies integrity, honor, and dignity. It's what allows us to live authentically, true to ourselves, without compromising our values or sense of worth. Without it, we can easily fall into situations where we allow others to mistreat us, where our boundaries become unclear, and where we lose sight of what we truly deserve. In relationships, this is especially critical. It's easy to find ourselves in situations that challenge our sense of self, where we begin to settle for less than we're worth, simply because we fear conflict or desire to maintain peace. But here's the harsh reality. Compromising our self-respect for the sake of avoiding confrontation is never the solution. Stoicism teaches us this crucial lesson. Never ever compromise your values for the sake of a relationship or to keep up appearances. That's a hard pill to swallow, right? But think about it. Maintaining peace at the cost of your own self-respect is no peace at all. It's not about avoiding conflict. It's about standing firm in your worth, in your values, and choosing relationships that truly honor you, not drain you. When you have self-respect, you create space for relationships that nourish you, that help you grow and thrive. Imagine, just for a moment, walking away from a situation where you feel disrespected, not out of anger or revenge, but because you recognize your own value, and you simply refuse to accept less than you deserve. That decision is not a sign of weakness. It's a testament to your strength and wisdom. It's often in walking away from toxic situations that we find the strength to move forward, to make room for better things in our lives. The Stoics believed that self-respect was a crucial part of living a virtuous life. Let me give you an example. Think about John, who found himself in a relationship where his partner repeatedly disrespected him. At first, John tried to overlook the signs, but over time he realized that staying in that relationship wasn't preserving his peace. It was eroding his sense of self. So John made the difficult decision to walk away, not because he didn't care about his partner, but because he cared enough about himself to protect his dignity. By walking away, he preserved his self-respect and opened the door for healthier, more fulfilling relationships in the future. Now let's pause for a second. Ask yourself this: how often do we allow ourselves to stay in situations that harm us, convincing ourselves that we should keep fighting for something that isn't honoring us? In modern Stoicism, we are taught that self-respect is non-negotiable. It's not just about standing up for ourselves during a moment of crisis, but about respecting ourselves every single day and not allowing anyone or anything to compromise that respect. Can you honestly say that you've set enough boundaries in your life to protect your self-respect? Do you have relationships that make you question your worth, that leave you feeling diminished? It's hard to admit, but these questions are important. The Stoics remind us that we control our responses to situations. If we tolerate disrespect, we're handing over control of our own peace, our own sense of self. You are worthy of love, respect, and kindness. Never forget that. You have the power to walk away from what no longer serves you, from situations or people who drain you, and make room for what truly honors who you are. So I ask you again, are you ready to preserve your self-respect, even if it means stepping away from something or someone that no longer aligns with your values? The Stoics remind us that our peace and dignity are paramount, and we must be willing to let go of what harms us in order to protect them. You deserve nothing less than that. Number 3, the power of boundaries. In every healthy relationship, the concept of boundaries is not just important, it's essential. Setting clear, respectful boundaries is a fundamental aspect of maintaining your emotional well-being, and it plays a pivotal role in how you allow others to treat you, Boundaries are not about creating walls that separate you from people. Rather, they are lines you draw to protect your values, your peace, and your sense of self. They act as a shield that safeguards you from mistreatment, manipulation, or being taken advantage of. The Stoics remind us of the importance of knowing our worth and standing firm in that knowledge. Marcus Aurelius often spoke about how to live virtuously and protect our peace, and this includes having the wisdom to set boundaries with others. When we establish these limits, we essentially define what is acceptable behavior and what is not. And that's where true self-respect begins. A healthy relationship is built on mutual respect, where each individual acknowledges and honors the other's boundaries. When someone repeatedly crosses those boundaries, it's not just a minor infraction, it's a sign that they do not truly respect you or your emotional needs. In this case, the Stoic secret is clear. We must not allow ourselves to remain in situations where we are constantly disrespected or where our well-being is compromised. Walking away from relationships where your boundaries are violated is not only a necessary act of self-care, but it is a powerful way to reinforce your worth and maintain your peace. Emily's story is a perfect example of this. For years, she struggled with friends who constantly took advantage of her kindness, crossing lines and disregarding her needs. Emily felt drained, undervalued, and caught in a cycle of people-pleasing. But it wasn't until she learned to set clear, firm boundaries that she found the courage to stand up for herself. The moment someone crossed those boundaries, instead of feeling guilty or fearful, she calmly walked away. She knew that her peace of mind was far more valuable than holding on to toxic relationships. It was a liberating realization. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Emily's reaction to the violations of her boundaries was to protect herself, not to engage in endless struggles or to let her emotional well-being be compromised. In the modern world, it's easy to find ourselves caught up in toxic dynamics, especially when we fear losing people or being alone. However, the Stoic secrets teach us that our peace is not negotiable. When someone consistently oversteps your boundaries, it's not a reflection of you, but a sign of their disregard for you. The real power lies in recognizing your worth and not tolerating any form of disrespect, no matter the relationship. Remember, true peace comes from within, and it's your responsibility to guard it fiercely. If you've made it this far, it shows you're seeking wisdom and a deeper understanding of your own value. Leave a comment with the slogan, "Protect boundaries, preserve peace," to show your commitment to setting healthy limits in relationships and safeguarding your inner peace. Stay with us. This journey of self-discovery and growth has just begun. Number 5. Practicing virtue above all else. One of the most powerful teachings of Stoicism is the idea of living virtuously, making virtue the guiding principle of our lives. Virtue, in Stoic philosophy, is considered the highest good, and it includes wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. But what does this really mean when it comes to betrayal in relationships? Betrayal strikes at the heart of what is virtuous, especially justice and honesty. And when we are hurt by others, it can tempt us to abandon these core principles. However, the Stoic approach teaches us that we must rise above that temptation. When we respond to betrayal, we are faced with a choice. Do we react with anger, bitterness, and revenge, or do we choose to respond with virtue? Practicing virtue means we stay grounded in our moral compass, regardless of how others behave. It doesn't mean we ignore our pain or let others walk all over us, but rather that we maintain our integrity and act in ways that uphold what is right, regardless of the circumstances. Think about it. When someone wrongs you, it might be easy to feel justified in seeking revenge or holding on to resentment. But Stoic secrets reveal that those reactions don't serve us in the long run. Instead, we should focus on what will nurture our personal growth and inner peace. This might mean forgiving the person who wronged us, or it might mean walking away from them entirely. Whatever decision allows us to stay true to ourselves and our values. Let me tell you a story about Laura. She was betrayed by a close friend who lied to her about something that was very important to her. The natural impulse might have been to lash out, to feel hurt and angry, or even to get back at her friend for the betrayal. But Laura chose a different path. Instead of retaliating or holding a grudge, she decided to practice virtue. She remained calm and composed, knowing that revenge and negativity would only drag her down. What did she do next? She distanced herself from the friendship, choosing to step away rather than stay in a relationship that no longer aligned with her values of honesty and integrity. It was a difficult decision, but one that preserved her dignity and helped her stay true to herself. Have you ever found yourself in a similar situation, where someone's betrayal tempted you to abandon your values? How did you respond? Did you find the strength to act with virtue, or did you let anger and resentment take over? The Stoic secrets of maintaining virtue in the face of betrayal are powerful tools for creating lasting inner peace. The truth is, we can't always control the actions of others, but we can control how we respond. When we choose virtue over vengeance, we are not only protecting our own peace of mind, but also affirming our commitment to being the best version of ourselves. Virtue is the foundation of a Stoic life, and when we make it the center of our actions, we free ourselves from the negative emotions that betrayal so often brings. In the end, practicing virtue doesn't mean we tolerate betrayal or that we let people walk all over us. It simply means that we choose to stay aligned with our highest values, regardless of the chaos or negativity around us. So I challenge you to think about the last time you were hurt by someone. How did you react? Did you respond in a way that honored your integrity? Or did you let the anger or frustration consume you? Remember, by responding with virtue, whether that means letting go or forgiving, you protect your own peace and honor your commitment to living a life of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. And in doing so, you will find the strength to rise above the negative actions of others, leaving you free to live with purpose and calm. Number 5. Practicing virtue above all else. One of the most powerful teachings of Stoicism is the idea of living virtuously, making virtue the guiding principle of our lives. Virtue, in Stoic philosophy, is considered the highest good, and it includes wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. But what does this really mean when it comes to betrayal in relationships? Betrayal strikes at the heart of what is virtuous, especially justice and honesty. And when we are hurt by others, it can tempt us to abandon these core principles. However, the Stoic approach teaches us that we must rise above that temptation. When we respond to betrayal, we are faced with a choice. Do we react with anger, bitterness, and revenge, or do we choose to respond with virtue? Practicing virtue means we stay grounded in our moral compass, regardless of how others behave. It doesn't mean we ignore our pain or let others walk all over us, but rather that we maintain our integrity and act in ways that uphold what is right, regardless of the circumstances. Think about it. When someone wrongs you, it might be easy to feel justified in seeking revenge or holding on to resentment. But Stoic secrets reveal that those reactions don't serve us in the long run. Instead, we should focus on what will nurture our personal growth and inner peace. This might mean forgiving the person who wronged us, or it might mean walking away from them entirely. Whatever decision allows us to stay true to ourselves and our values. Let me tell you a story about Laura. She was betrayed by a close friend who lied to her about something that was very important to her. The natural impulse might have been to lash out, to feel hurt and angry, or even to get back at her friend for the betrayal. But Laura chose a different path. Instead of retaliating or holding a grudge, she decided to practice virtue. She remained calm and composed, knowing that revenge and negativity would only drag her down. What did she do next? She distanced herself from the friendship, choosing to step away rather than stay in a relationship that no longer aligned with her values of honesty and integrity. It was a difficult decision, but one that preserved her dignity and helped her stay true to herself. Have you ever found yourself in a similar situation, where someone's betrayal tempted you to abandon your values? How did you respond? Did you find the strength to act with virtue, or did you let anger and resentment take over? The Stoic secrets of maintaining virtue in the face of betrayal are powerful tools for creating lasting inner peace. The truth is, we can't always control the actions of others, but we can control how we respond. When we choose virtue over vengeance, we are not only protecting our own peace of mind, but also affirming our commitment to being the best version of ourselves. Virtue is the foundation of a Stoic life, and when we make it the center of our actions, we free ourselves from the negative emotions that betrayal so often brings. In the end, practicing virtue doesn't mean we tolerate betrayal or that we let people walk all over us. It simply means that we choose to stay aligned with our highest values, regardless of the chaos or negativity around us. So I challenge you to think about the last time you were hurt by someone. How did you react? Did you respond in a way that honored your integrity? Or did you let the anger or frustration consume you? Remember, by responding with virtue, whether that means letting go or forgiving, you protect your own peace and honor your commitment to living a life of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. And in doing so, you will find the strength to rise above the negative actions of others, leaving you free to live with purpose and calm. Number 6. Acceptance of what we cannot control. In life, one of the toughest lessons we face is learning to accept what we cannot control, a core principle of Stoicism. In relationships, whether personal or professional, people will inevitably betray, deceive, or disappoint us. It's easy to become overwhelmed by anger, frustration, or even a desire for revenge. But what if holding on to these emotions only strips us of our power? The Stoic mindset teaches us to accept that we can't control other people's actions. No matter how hard we try, we can't make others behave as we want. Have you ever felt like you were trying to fix someone, but no matter what, nothing changed? It's exhausting, isn't it? The truth is, we can't change the past or force anyone to act differently. What we can control is how we respond to it. When betrayal happens, we have the power to decide whether we let the anger and hurt consume us, or whether we release it, freeing ourselves from the burden of resentment. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." In other words, being a good person might mean accepting what's happened rather than fighting against it. Have you ever clung to a grudge, thinking it would somehow right the wrong? Did it help you heal, or did it just deepen the pain? What if, instead of focusing on someone else's actions, you focused on protecting your own peace and moving forward? Let me share a story about Mark. He trusted his business partner, only for that partner to betray him financially. It must have been a crushing blow. Betrayal can ignite a desire for revenge, but Mark chose a different path. He accepted that the situation was beyond his control. He couldn't change the betrayal, but he could control how he responded. So, Mark walked away, cutting ties with the partner. Instead of allowing anger to consume him, he used the experience to grow. What if Mark had clung to anger and revenge? Would that have helped him heal, or kept him stuck in that painful moment? This is where modern Stoicism offers us freedom. The practice of detachment doesn't mean we condone betrayal. It means we refuse to let it control us. By accepting what we can't control, we free ourselves from the chains of resentment and frustration. As Epictetus wisely put it, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Think for a moment about your own life. What betrayals or hurts are you still holding on to? Could you find peace in accepting that these actions are beyond your control, and that your response is the only thing you can change? The Stoic approach doesn't ask you to forget the hurt, it asks you to choose how you respond. By doing so, you reclaim your power. It's not easy, I know. But remember, by embracing what we can't control and focusing on what we can, our own peace and emotional well-being, we free ourselves to live with clarity and serenity. In today's chaotic world, where we are constantly pulled in different directions, doesn't this shift in mindset seem like exactly what we need? By practicing modern Stoicism, we can begin to untangle ourselves from the chaos and take control of our emotional destiny. Number 7. The wisdom of letting go. One of the most challenging yet liberating lessons in life is the wisdom of letting go, especially when it comes to relationships that have become toxic or unfulfilling. We often hold on, not because the relationship serves us, but because we fear the void it might leave. Stoic philosophy teaches us that attachment, whether to people, places, or things, can bind us to the past and prevent us from living in harmony with ourselves. When we find ourselves clinging to a relationship that betrays us or constantly drains us emotionally, we risk being overwhelmed by negativity and unhealthy dynamics. The Stoic secrets reveal that true freedom lies in our ability to detach from what no longer serves us, whether it's a person, a situation, or an attachment. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment of it." Holding on to what harms us only poisons our judgment and keeps us tethered to the very thing that causes us distress. Letting go, on the other hand, is not an act of failure or weakness, but a demonstration of wisdom and strength. It is an acknowledgement that our peace of mind, personal freedom, and self-respect are far more valuable than any relationship that no longer aligns with our core values. By releasing what is no longer beneficial, we create room for new opportunities, healthier relationships, and a path of personal growth that leads us closer to becoming the best version of ourselves. Think of Claire, for example. She had spent years in a friendship that, despite the outward appearances of closeness, was marked by emotional manipulation and subtle betrayal. At first, she couldn't bring herself to let go, fearing the emptiness that might follow. But with time, she realized that this relationship was not adding anything positive to her life. In fact, it was holding her back. The moment Claire decided to sever ties was not without pain, but it was a powerful turning point. By letting go of the toxic friendship, she created space for relationships based on trust, mutual respect, and true connection, something she hadn't realized she was missing until the burden of that old friendship was lifted. In our modern world, letting go can feel like a radical choice. We are constantly told to hold on, to fight for what we have, but sometimes the true act of strength is found in releasing what no longer benefits us. The Stoics understood this deeply. It's not about clinging to every relationship or opportunity that comes our way, but knowing when to walk away to preserve our peace. Letting go is a practice that allows you to reframe your perspective on life. Instead of seeing it as a loss, view it as an opportunity for renewal. When you make the choice to let go, you are making space for healthier relationships, for personal growth, and for the possibility of a life that truly aligns with your values and purpose. Embrace this Stoic principle with courage and confidence, knowing that it is through letting go of what weighs us down that we find the freedom to live more fully and authentically. Remember, holding on to the wrong things can cost you your inner peace, while letting go can open the door to new possibilities and a brighter future. If you've made it this far, you're truly stepping into a journey of inner strength and freedom. Leave a comment with the phrase, "letting go to embrace freedom," to show your commitment to freeing yourself from relationships and things that no longer serve you. Don't leave just yet. You've only just begun to uncover the Stoic secrets that will help you live a more authentic and peaceful life. Number 8. Reclaiming your power. When someone betrays us, especially in a personal or intimate relationship, it can feel as though we've lost control over our own lives. betrayal shakes us to our core, leaving us questioning ourselves, our choices, and our worth. But in those moments of vulnerability, Stoic philosophy offers a powerful reminder. True power doesn't come from external circumstances or the actions of others. It comes from within. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, wisely said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When betrayal strikes, the decision to walk away or set boundaries is the first step toward reclaiming control. It's about making a conscious choice not to tolerate behavior that harms your well-being, and taking back the reins of your emotional state and sense of self-worth. By doing so, you regain control over your life, refusing to let someone else dictate your happiness or peace of mind. Reclaiming your power is about taking responsibility for your own happiness and deciding that no one has the right to disturb your inner calm unless you allow it. Consider James's experience as an example. After enduring repeated betrayals from his partner, James realized that his peace of mind was slipping away. He felt powerless, as though his emotions were no longer his own. Yet, in a moment of clarity, he turned to modern Stoicism for guidance. He sought therapy, surrounded himself with a supportive network of friends, and committed to personal growth. James understood that while he couldn't change his partner's behavior, he had the power to decide how he would respond. His peace, his happiness, and his well-being were within his control. In reclaiming his power, James realized that he could choose his emotional response, and no one could take his peace unless he allowed it. This lesson is particularly crucial in today's world, where external pressures, whether from work, social media, or personal relationships, often make us feel as though we're at the mercy of others. We can easily lose our sense of control, allowing toxic people or situations to undermine our happiness. However, the key is recognizing that no matter what others do, we always have the power to control our reactions. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can choose how we respond to them. Reclaiming your power in the face of betrayal is not about revenge or holding grudges. It's about asserting your right to peace, self-respect, and emotional stability. It's a reminder that you hold the keys to your own happiness. In modern life, where distractions and external expectations often drown out our internal voice, it's easy to forget that our peace and happiness are within our grasp. By embracing the principles of modern Stoicism, you can cultivate the strength to walk away from toxic situations, set healthy boundaries, and, most importantly, take ownership of your well-being. Reclaiming your power means recognizing that you are the architect of your own life, and no one has the right to diminish your sense of self-worth unless you allow it. By setting these boundaries, you honor yourself, your values, and your commitment to growth. Ultimately, reclaiming your power is about choosing not to let the actions of others control your emotional state. You are the one who decides how you respond, how you heal, and how you move forward, free from the toxic influence of betrayal. In conclusion, the Stoic approach to betrayal teaches us a valuable lesson. Our peace and dignity are far too precious to sacrifice for the sake of forgiveness, especially when the betrayal is repeated or deeply hurtful. Stoicism encourages virtue, wisdom, and emotional resilience, but it also recognizes the importance of walking away when necessary to preserve our well-being. Betrayals, whether they come in the form of lies, manipulation, or dishonesty, are never acts of love, and forgiving them can only diminish our worth. In the end, we protect our emotional health by choosing to walk away from toxic behaviors. You are the steward of your own peace. Don't let anyone take that away from you. How do you apply modern Stoicism in your life when faced with betrayal? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Stoic in Your Life for more Stoic secrets on living a fulfilled, resilient life.